by making little changes, you could galvanize major changes that will propel you towards greater peace, financial stability, better organization, and more time to do the things that you love to do? Well, there is a way, but first I need you to stop doing something immediately. I just need you to stop doing this one thing immediately. Stop waking up every morning and hoping for the best. You are literally flipping a coin to determine how your day, month, and life is going to turn out. You need to have a plan for your life and you need to stick to it. I'm going to share with you a simple life hack that will transform the way you go about your day to day and launch you onto a path of success and fulfillment. But first, I want to give you an exciting update on my Lose 10 Pounds in 30 Days challenge. Honestly, there were some surprising results. So, as you can see, within the first week, I had a really drastic weight shift just by making a few minor modifications. So, if you'll remember, I was using the changing criterion design, which literally meant I was doing a step down process. Rather than trying to lose 10 whole pounds all at once in one fell swoop, I was going to incrementally increase the demand and decrease the weight. So instead of losing 10 whole pounds, I would lose 2 pounds this week, and then I would lose 2 more pounds, and then maybe 3 pounds until I went from 144, which was my baseline. Week two, I projected that I would be, go down to 145, 141.5, and then step down to 139, then to 136.5, and end up at 134, which would be my target weight, just by making a few incremental changes. Um, and I was actually surprised when I started to see the weight literally drop off. So, okay, I'm moving over to the graph on my right, which is also the changing criteria design to show you what actually happened. So there's my baseline of 144. But then within the first week, within the first literally 7 days, I had already dropped down to 137.8 and was averaging 137.8 for that entire second week just by making some minor changes. Um, And I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened in that first week. So let's see, what did I do? And you'll see that I am here, September the 27th. So you can see that I'm just hovering right here at about 136.5, 137. Well, first of all, I removed all processed foods from my diet. I ate mostly fruit, vegetables, protein in the form of fish and chicken. I had potatoes only once a week. Rice, maybe once a week. I had lots of mixed nuts because I mentioned to you before that my biggest, I'm not going to call it an addiction, but my biggest thing is potato chips because of the crunch and because of the saltiness. I substituted the potato chips for mixed nuts, pecans, walnuts, and just had a kind of trail mix, and that really served the same function as the potato chips. I added a daily probiotic in the form of Culturelle. You can get it anywhere. You can get it at the drugstore, you can get it at the grocery store, it's available everywhere, even get it on Amazon. I added fiber to my diet. I mean, I did eat fruit anyway, but I was intentional about the fiber and I was eating, and I still am eating 2 prunes a day. Um, I stopped eating after 8 p.m. And if I felt a little peckish, I would have, and I still do have a carrot stick or a celery stick. But I'm just letting you know what I did in that first week. Um, I drank water first when I thought I was hungry. But then I had to analyze whether I had eaten enough that day. As always, pure coconut water works wonders. I usually get the Trader Joe's version because there's no added sugar, and it's definitely worth the trip to Trader Joe's to get the sugar-free coconut water. So, I have a couple of theories for this significant weight shift. So I have a couple of theories for this significant weight shift. Just my opinion, not scientific, not a medical explanation. Um, for my situation, I think my consumption of high carbs causes me to retain fluids, and this presents as extra weight for me. Another theory is that consumption of fiber and probiotics enables the elimination of waste from the body, waste that ordinarily is not fully or properly being expelled from the body. Um, how do I feel? How do I feel now? I feel lighter. I feel more energetic. I'm definitely aware of less bulk around my midsection, which is awesome. So going forward, I'm going to communicate on this trajectory. I'm going to continue on this trajectory. At this rate, I'm likely going to hit my target weight of 134 pounds before my target date of 30 days. We'll see. I don't want to dip below 132 pounds. So if that looks likely, I will go ahead and add more bulk or more carbs to my diet. By the way, this is neither a no carb, low carb, or Atkins diet. It's just an exploration of foods that optimize my personal health. Um, I do not advocate deprivation or starvation diets that will just lead you in the totally opposite direction and will be counterintuitive, I promise you. I'll continue to show you my progress until the end of the challenge. But what's my reason for sharing this technique with you? Well, basically, to show you that by applying simple strategic fixes to your behavior, you can make meaningful and lasting changes that will last you a lifetime. This strategy can be used for absolutely any change you want to make in your life. It's great for those who would like to stop smoking. Maybe you'd like to be better organized. Perhaps you're perpetually late and would like to change that for good. Maybe you're a procrastinator. You take forever to get things started, or you take forever to finish things. This strategy even works for developing skills for a better memory, remembering names, faces, paying attention to detail. It's very simple and very effective, and you'll see. But this all leads me to what I'm going to share with you today. I'm excited to tell you about yet another strategy that we use in the field of applied behavior analysis, ABA, that will blow your mind. So, in the field of ABA, for most of our clients, we develop what we call a treatment plan, which is very much like what your doctor or physical therapist or your occupational therapist will develop for you. It's basically a plan of action for improvement and expected outcomes. Once treatment plans have been developed, therapists typically categorize the elements of the plan into a set of goals. These goals are then further categorized according to their type and are given deadlines by which the goals are to be achieved. We typically call this a client's learning tree because it's basically a tree and it has main branches and subsets, which are smaller branches. So, as I said before, pretty much every strategy that we use in the field of ABA can be effectively applied to everyday life to sustain meaningful and lasting changes. So, I'm going to show you what a typical client's learning tree would look like. So, as you can see, every treatment plan, or this example of one of our treatment plans or learning trees, has major elements which we call the long term goals. You'll see long term goals for communication, a long term goal for social and play, and you'll see a long term behavior goal. And very often you'll also see a long term goal for the caregivers. So you'd begin with your long term goals. Like I said, usually communication, social goals, behavior goals, and parent or caregiver goals. Each long term goal has its own subset of short term goals. These are goals that can be achieved in a relatively short period of time, typically from a couple of weeks to a couple of months. Each goal will have a recommended date of completion, or mastery as we call it in the field. Every day or every few days, small steps are taken to work on the goal to lead us in the direction of mastery or completion. Once the goal has been satisfactorily achieved, a new goal can replace it. Or if there are no other goals necessary, then great, you move on. It's important, however, that once mastery is achieved, that the skill is maintained. Thus, we have to check in regularly to test and make sure that the skill is still alive and well. We call this stage of the treatment plan maintenance. In addition to that, we also have to be sure that the skills that have been developed exist in multiple contexts and multiple settings. That is, the skill is transferable. Is it able to be performed at home, in the mall, at church, walking down the street? For example, let's say the new skill is having reciprocal conversations. It'll be necessary to ensure that the skill is replicated everywhere. Some things are easily done or easier done in one setting than in another. Thus, the areas of weakness also have to be strengthened where necessary. For example, let's say someone is excruciatingly shy, but they develop the skill to be able to answer the front door to a total stranger and have a reciprocal conversation, or they have conversations with neighbors, and it goes really, really well. But then you take that same person, you think, oh, great, we've mastered that skill. Either the person that you're working with or yourself is now able to have conversations with neighbors, or someone comes to the front, or that comes to the front door, go to a party, you're ready, and you're about to have a conversation with a total stranger, and you freeze. That's why the new skill has to be tested in multiple contexts. So let's take a look at how we can apply the same strategy to our everyday lives to organize, compartmentalize, and make meaningful and lasting changes. We're calling this the little learning tree for big life changes. So as you can see, it looks just like the typical learning tree that we use for our clients every day for applied behavior analysis therapy. That is my life. We begin with the long term goals. Remember, with the clients, we typically have communication goals, social goals, behavior goals, and caregiver goals. But for us humble people, adults, neurotypical folks, I have still given us communication goals because I believe that we all can communicate better on some level. We communicate every day. Communicating is something that we do. That's a skill that we are forever building on. We also have social goals. Instead of behavior goals, I have dropped in vocational, financial, and business goals. So let's explore this a little bit. So the long-term goal, which is the umbrella goal, is communication. As a short-term goal or a branch, because it's a learning tree, it's a tree. So a branch that comes off the communication branch is or could be short-term goal. I will communicate no when that is my true response on 100% of opportunities over a 6-month period. So that's the title of the goal. Well, we have to give ourselves a rationale to explain why this goal is in place in the first place. So my rationale would be I struggle to say no often and find myself in situations that I would rather not be in. So we then have a description of the goal. How are we going to go about doing this? Because you're not doing it at the moment, so what's going to be different? That's why you have to have a recipe for how you're going to fulfill this goal. So that's your goal description. I will make a conscious effort to emit my true response on every occasion, no matter how uncomfortable it is in the moment. I will reward myself by reminding myself of the relief I will feel after the fact, as opposed to the frustration I would otherwise have felt. And then we have to have a mastery criteria. What does that mean? It basically means, how long do we have to continue doing this goal? Is it forever? Is it indefinite? Is there a cutoff period? Are there milestones? You have to have milestones. You have to have benchmarks. So the mastery criteria in this case, as it was with my client sample, would be: mastery is achieved when I am consistently communicating no when that is my true response on 100% of opportunities over a 6 month period. So that's your communication goal number one. You can have as few or as many goals in each category. I do not advise you to have too many to start out with because you want them to be achievable. So, another example of a communication goal, short term goal number two, I will ask for help when I know I need it, rather than attempt to do everything myself on 100% of opportunities presented, again over a 6 month period. 6 month period is realistic. Um, Sometimes, if your periods are too short, um, you can set yourself up for failure. If the periods are too long, you could lose interest, you could lose your focus, and never achieve that goal. So I always find that 6 months is just about right for most goals. So, what is the rationale for this goal? Well, and this is a real goal for me. I really don't like asking for help. The consequence is that I feel overwhelmed and exhausted because I typically tend to try to do everything myself. Um, I'm better at delegating, but I could be a lot better. So, the goal description: how am I going to make that happen? Well, I will practice asking for help incrementally. Start with little things, build to bigger things. I will be reinforced by positive reactions to my asking. I'm reinforced by the things being done that I asked to be done. But I will also learn to graciously accept denial because not everything you ask for is going to be fulfilled. What is the mastery criteria for this specific goal? Well, mastery is achieved when I'm able to consistently ask for help when I know I need it, rather than attempt to do everything myself on 100% of opportunities presented over a 6 month period. I strongly advise you to have a notebook or some way of recording your goals and your achievements. Okay, moving on to the next long term goal, which is the social goals. Let's see, short term goal number one. I've only put one under this category, but you can put as many under social as you want to. I will make time once a month to contact people that are important to me, family and friends. What is the rationale for that? Well, my work and my business consumes so much of my time that I find myself neglecting people that are important to me. I want people in my inner circle to feel valued by me. How am I going to do that? Well, I will use a calendar or some type of notation device to keep track of my contacts and send reminders when necessary. Each month, I will make sure by a checklist that specific contacts have been made. What is the mastery criteria here? Well, mastery is achieved when I'm consistently making the time, at least once a month, to contact people that are important to me, my family and my friends. Okay, and so the next long term goal we have is the vocational, financial, and business goals. Again, as many or as few under this category as you want. So the short term goal is I will write a monthly budget to keep track of my income and outgoings over a period of 6 months. Again, this is just an example. This is not actually a real goal of mine. What is the rationale? I tend to spend frivolously without thoughts of the future. I would like to make better decisions about my future, beginning with my finances. How's that going to be achieved? What's the goal description? I will set aside a specific time, place, and notebook to keep track of my finances. This will be done on schedule with regularity each month. It's really important, folks, to be intentional about these goals. Okay, don't be frivolous about them. Don't be flippant about them. Be intentional because the more time you put into them, the more you're going to get out of them. If they don't really matter, it'll be a non-starter. And so, really, I would not even consider doing this unless you're really serious about it. And it can make monumental changes in your life, I promise you. What is the mastery criteria for that one? Mastery is achieved when I'm consistently writing a monthly budget to keep track of my income and outgoings over a period of 6 months. Again, 6 months being a realistic milestone. Short term goal number two. I will do, and this is another sample goal. This is not a real goal for me, but I'm sure someone's going to connect with this one. I will do something tangible towards starting my own business at least once per week until my business is up and running within a 12-month period. See, I've changed the timeline there. 12 months for me for that goal is a realistic milestone. What is the rationale? Well, I have a desire and plan to start my own business, but cannot find the time to get anything done because I'm so busy with work and my family commitments. Real talk. Goal description, how are we going to make it happen? I will designate a day each week whereby at least 2 hours of that day are devoted entirely to working on my business setup. It must be tangible, meaning that something must be written down, acquired, purchased, put in place, or contacts made. Mastery criteria. Mastery is achieved when I'm consistently doing something towards starting my own business at least once a week until my business is up and running within a 12-month period. So, again, write these things down. Check yourself, take data on yourself, be accountable to yourself to make sure that you're doing this. It may seem like a lot of writing and a lot of planning. I strongly urge you to do it this way to start out with. Once you get used to it and you're consistently writing goals and seeing changes in your life, you can do it in shorthand. You can reduce the length of your goal titles and your rationale down to one word. Like you can say, um, for example, um, a personal goal might be do better at laundry. That's the title. Your rationale may be laundry is building up. Your description, I'll do it every Thursday. Your master criteria is over a 6 month period, I will no longer have any outstanding laundry by the time Friday ends. Shortened, simplified, but to the point. But I strongly urge you to do it this way to begin with, just to get used to it, get into the flow of it, and get you into the mindset of being committed to it. So, in conclusion, um, as you write your goals, make sure you have number one, a what, which is your goal title, your short term goal title. You have a why, that is your rationale. You have a how, which is your goal description. And you have a when, which is your mastery criteria. So, in conclusion, I really want you to be intentional about your life. I want you to stop um, taking chances with your life. Be intentional. Don't wake up every morning and flip a coin like, okay, what's this day going to bring? Know what this day is going to bring. Have something to do with what happens on that day. Um, it'll change your life. Just try it. Um, it will make a big difference. I promise you.